Who are the Jailbirds? The Jailbirds are a band consisting of Mike Penny, Liam Hills, and John Gould. And if you've ever listened to their music, you've probably asked yourself, how could God create something so intense yet oddly majestic at the same time? Well, I had an opportunity to speak to the big man in the sky himself, where he revealed to me exactly how he created the Jailbirds. The secret recipe includes screaming guitar licks, pounding bass lines, ear-shattering drums, soaring vocals, and weed. A ton of weed.
All right, so we are joined today by Mississauga, Ontario's the Jailbirds. I'm going to start off with a simple question here. How you guys doing today?
Hello.
Fantastic.
Doing great.
Unreal. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. First thing I want to know, how did the band form and where did the name the Jailbirds come from?
Well, the band formed, Liam and I were in a band throughout high school. And that was like a different name, different kind of genre, and different kind of stuff going on. And then it just kind of like formed into the Jailbirds, really, between the two of us. And Liam was the one who came up with the name, so I'll let him tell that story.
We were kind of in the middle of picking names. We had a previous name before that with a bunch of other guys in the band. And we had this big whiteboard full of names, and we were nothing stuck, and we had a whole bunch circled. I think there was like 30 things on there. Like one of them was like, we had like train wreck was one, like a bunch of weird stuff, right?
High Noon, I think, was one. Yeah.
High
Train
Noon
wreck's
was
not
one
bad.
of them. Yeah,
Train
High
wreck's
Noon
not
was the
bad.
good.
Train wreck's
High
like
Noon-
train and big wreck mixed together.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So High Noon and Trainwreck were the big contenders, right? So we were like, you know what, let's just table it. We'll take these names home and we'll listen to the tracks and see if we can come up with anything. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I bring the names home and I sit in my chair. And this is back when I was smoking the ganja. I was smoking the substance, the good stuff. And I sat there and I got like way, way too high. Like obscenely high. It's the high where you sit there and you're kind of like, all right, this is a little uncomfortable. I'm kind of really high. I can't think.
Point of no return.
Exactly. Yeah. So I put the track on, and I had pictured that we were in like old timey Western states, like 1902, in the middle of like cowboy era, right? And we were on this train in the middle of the plains, like gunning it down this plains field on this train, and we were robbing the train, the group of us, and we were these train robbers, and we got caught and we got sent to jail, and we were all sitting in this old-timey jail really sad because we couldn't steal all the things from the train. And some old guy with no teeth walks by and he goes, hey, look at them bunch of jailbirds in there. And I opened my eyes and I was like, Jailbirds. And I wrote it down. I circled it 50 times, and that's how the name kind of came about.
I'd like each of you guys to list off a couple of musicians that each look up to musically. So we'll start off with you, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's a lot. Just two. That's it.
Yeah, two each.
I'll pick a guitar player and a singer. I think the most influential to me, overall, has been Slash. I would say. He's always been my number one, and I don't know, but just something about. I mean, everybody can agree his playing is pretty unique and special, and like you always know it's him playing. You know what I mean? That's what was like when I was like a teenager. That was what was really cool to me. It's like I heard that Lenny Kravitz song. I don't know what the song was that he plays on.
Always on the Run.
That one, yeah. And I had never heard it before at the time. I must have been like 14 or something, and it came on the radio, and I was like listening to it, and then the solo came out, and it was like, that's Slash. What the hell? This isn't a Slash song or a Guns N' Roses song or something, right? So it was like, and then I looked it up, and sure enough, it was him. And I was like, that's so cool that I can like know that, just by listening to his playing, because there's not a lot of guitar players that you can say that about. There's a handful, sure, but like, of the millions of people playing, like it's pretty unique to have that. So that's pretty cool, and that's why it's so inspiring to me. And he just does his own thing. He's super humble. He's seems like the coolest guy. And yeah, and then singer, I'm gonna say Miles Kennedy has been the most kind of influential for me.
Liam, couple influences from you.
Yeah, from me, there's a few. I guess I'll do a bass player or two.
Sure.
And probably a singer, I guess. So I guess I'll start with the first bass player that kind of got me into bass. It's not an influence. From that starting point, was when I was in high school and I first heard a band called Death from Above. I don't know if anybody's familiar with them.
1983.
Yeah. Yeah, Death from Above 1979.
I know.
Jesse F. Keeler on the bass. When I first heard that, I was like, holy shit, basses can make that sound? That's a bass? And that's kind of what got me into kind of wanting to play it, I guess. And then when I really got into it and when I really was like, wow, I want to be that. I want to sound like that, was when the first time I heard Black Sabbath, which was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, was when Iron Man came out. This might get retconned. I might say something else. But my earliest memory is when Iron Man came out and the song Iron Man was at the end of that movie, right? And I heard it and I was like, what is that? Well, who is that? And that's the first time I heard Geezer Butler on bass. And ever since then, he's just been the man. His tone is so cool. His lines are wicked. He's just got like this fat, rubbery tone, but it doesn't lose anything. It's just a giant meat in Black Sabbath that you can't live without. Right. Yeah. So ever since then, I hold Geezer in the highest regard. He's the man. Mm-hmm. Black Sabbath would be the same without him, honestly.
No.
So there's him, and then there's also when I was a kid, my dad used to play this Chili Peppers song, Danny California. And I first heard that song when I was in the car with my dad, and he used to crank that song. Every time the solo would come on, he would air guitar the solo, and at the end of the song, he would go, woo! At the end. But that's besides the point. When I heard Flea on the bass in that song, boom, 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 I was, yeah, that's wicked. That's really funky. And that kind of brought me into the funk vein.
So I had pretty much the exact same experience with AC/DC that Mike did. I don't remember. I think it was also Thunderstruck that I heard just from my parents playing it. And so immediately what got me into guitar was AC/DC and Angus Young. Just like, I don't know. There's something about AC/DC when you put it on, you just can't help but just bob your head, just go, like, and it, to me, it was so cool that in that band, to me, Angus Young's the front man and he's the guitar player. You know what I mean? That's what the whole band is about. And so he led me to guitar. And once I got more into guitar and started listening to other stuff, for me, it was Jimi Hendrix that kind of opened me up to so many, like opened me up to blues and opened me up to, like psychedelia and all that kind of stuff. And Jimi Hendrix showed me Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that's how I got into blues. And so those two guys really, they were the forefathers to show me what direction to go.
So you dropped your debut EP, The Black River, in January of 2019, and I want to ask you about the title track. What's that song about, and how did the writing process go for that one?
Well, I wrote it when I was really stoned in my bedroom, and I was playing a video game, and the level was called The Black River, and I was like, whoa, that'd be a cool song name. And then we had this demo, and I don't even know what the working title of the demo was. I'll have to dig that up sometime, maybe, if I can find it. But anyway, it was like Black River was like written, the instrumental part was written like in its entirety, and I don't think it changed much from the initial arrangement, and we just needed lyrics. And so that's why at this moment I was like, that'd be a cool name for a song. And then I was like, I wonder if it would go over that one. And then literally like that thought popped in my head, and then it was like a matter of minutes. Like it was like, oh, okay, I literally put the game down and went and just wrote it, and I wrote it all at once, and then it just kind of worked out like that. I didn't do any rewrites. It was one of those that I haven't written a song like that since, where it's just like and everything just wrote itself. It's frustrating that it's not every song is like that, because that'd be great. But yeah, I still look at those lyrics and I'm really happy with them, and so that's rare as well. So that's really cool.
All right, so you spent the spring of 2019 touring to promote the release of Black River, and it seems as though all your hard work paid off in August of that year when you got signed to Golden Robot Records. How did it all happen?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of something that came out of nowhere, and they kind of came along, having just stumbled upon our music. And yeah, I mean, it was not something we planned for, and then yeah, it was a good opportunity, so we took it, and we've been working with them now for this release, the past few singles and stuff like that. And yeah, it's been great. It's been really good. And it was like, yeah, it came out of nowhere. We were like, what the fuck? And I actually like ignored the original emails. Like I was like, yeah, okay, fuck off.
Yeah, like this has got to be a joke. There's no
Yeah.
way, because we weren't expecting anything like that. We had no plans in the very near future to do anything like that. So when they reached out to us, we were all just like, what? This is a thing. This is happening.
So you guys started off as a 5-piece and then moved to a 4-piece, and then you worked as a power trio for the longest time. So maybe just tell us a little bit about the recent lineup changes you guys have gone through and introduce the new guy formally.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, Liam, why don't you talk about the 5-piece in the beginning there? That was fun.
Okay, so originally, the very, very, very beginnings before the Jailbirds was the Jailbirds. There was another band. I don't know if you want me to say the name, Mike, but
I
I'm gonna
would
say the
love
name
for you to
anyway.
say the name.
It's
The original
yeah.
name was Peace of Mind.
Yeah.
It was more of a hard rock band that I was not part of. I was friends with all the guys. It was a high school band, but I was friends with all these guys, which was including Mike. And at the time, their bass player, whose name was also Liam, left the band. And I happened to be in their guitar class and everything. And I had just started playing in another band, like acoustically, and I had my buddy's brother's bass that I was just noodling around with. And they were like, hey man, like, do you want to come play bass for us, the band Peace of Mind? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? This was in grade 11, I think. And that was when the band was a 5-piece. It was a 4-piece at the time. Sorry. And then that band dissolved. It did not stay as Peace of Mind because we kind of changed direction musically. We went from a hard rock to a more it was, I guess, like hard rock in terms of like, it was like Alter Bridge hard rock, as opposed to like a Rainbow hard rock or a Deep Purple hard rock kind of thing, right? So we eventually changed musical styles, and then with that came the change of the band name. And that was when we were a 4-piece, and we had then added a keyboard player because we're like, man, this would sound really great with keys. So the 4-piece then became a 5-piece, and the keyboard player left unexpectedly. So then we were back down to, our guitar player left when we were a 5-piece, and then we were a 4-piece with the keyboard player. A lot of changes. 5-piece with the guitar player left, 4-piece with the keyboard player left, and then Mike, you can go from there.
Yeah, we're just listening to Mikey right now. He's just filling us in.
I don't think Mike's back yet. It doesn't look like he's.
Where'd he go?
I think Mike just had enough. He got up and said, F this.
So now we're a 2-piece.
Yeah.
So now
I'm Mike.
Now we're a power duo.
All right. So okay. So we our keyboard player left after we were a 4-piece. We became a 3-piece. And then we decided we wanted to add a 4th member because our songs were getting more complex, and the layering we were doing in the studio, it wasn't really possible on stage to keep true to the sound of the songs. Just the amount of stuff that was going on, right? So Mike was kind of looking into getting another guitar player so that he could free himself up vocally, so we didn't have to do all the lead lines as well, just to thicken everything up on stage and to play the actual parts that you hear in the songs. And we decided that we would search for a guitar player, and that guitar player that answered the call was our man, young John Gould.
Young Jonathan.
Young Jonathan, I like to call him. Young John, he's a baby.
I'm a
But
baby.
yeah, John is the fourth member of the band. So welcome, John. He's been with us. John, how long have you been with us for? You can tell it.
Man, I don't know. It's been since the summertime now, I think.
June, I think. Yeah.
June or something. Man, it's been that long already. Holy
Something like
cow.
that. Yeah. I think we
Time
started
flies when you're having
jamming in
fun.
June.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Mike post a Facebook status saying that they were looking for somebody, or a musician of some sort.
That was a joke
And
too.
was it really?
Yeah, it was a joke.
That's hilarious.
Initially, it was a joke, and then I actually started thinking about it and went, "Huh, yeah, okay, maybe I should." Yeah, yeah.
I did not know that. Well, so I've seen I've seen them play a bunch of times, and they were always my favorite kind of local band. That when I was in college at Fanshawe, I saw them play, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times. And every time they would come to London, I would always go out, because I didn't really see too many bands out there doing the kind of music that they were doing. And when I would listen to them, I would hear some of my favorite bands just in their music, and I always thought that was so cool. And at the time I was playing in another band that was totally a different direction musically, and I'd always wanted to play that stuff because that's what I grew up on. That's what that's how I got into guitar. And one day I saw Mike's Facebook post, which I now know was a joke. and I messaged him. I was like, no way, like this is crazy. So I shot Mike a message and was like, hey man, I think we may have met once or twice before. And I just, shot him a message and was like, hey, if you're serious about looking for somebody, I'm definitely like interested. I love your guys' stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, time went on, and, I kind of didn't really think anything of it. Mike just said, yeah, well, I'll let you know, I'm still thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. And then one day, Mike shot me a message and was like, hey, like, are you interested in coming to jam with us sometime? And I'm glad I did. And it's been so much fun, getting to know the guys. And it's really great just being around a group of guys that's so driven to succeed, and they're great musicians and even better dudes. So it's just, yeah, I'm really stoked.
So you guys had the opportunity to work with Brian Moncars, who mixed songs for Our Lady Peace, The Tea Party, The Trues, among many other bands, on some of your latest works. So how did you guys get acquainted with him, and what was it like having his presence there when it came to mixing Dull My Brain in particular?
Yeah, I mean, Brian's wonderful. He reached out to us right before we went in to record, actually, and he wanted to do an EP or a single or something with us from scratch and stuff, and that's still something we're considering as well. But at the time, we were already planned to do everything at EMAC. Everything had already been done with Golden Robot, and so the train was already in motion, right? So we were like, how do we work with this guy? What can we do? And so we thought, let's have him mix one of our singles, and it was great. He fucking nailed it, and it was a blast to have, working with that guy. He's like you said, he's worked with so many really, really cool musicians and artists, and he just did the latest Alice Cooper album and stuff. And yeah, it was really, really cool to get his flavor on it, Yeah. And Liam, like, yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that he even acknowledged us. That's essentially. He's been out to see us. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once or twice.
Yeah,
he
a
came
few
out to see us a
times,
couple
I
of times.
think. Yeah.
And he really dug our stuff. So he was like, man, I want to, like Mike said, I want to get involved with this. He saw a lot of potential in what we were making, and he wanted to help propel us where he thought we could go. So we, like Mike said, we were already in EMAC and everything, and so we decided to let him go with one of the singles to mix that. And when we originally decided on Dull My Brain, we gave it to him to go to work with, and he wanted to do, I think he wanted to do Watery Grave, didn't he, to mix that one?
Yeah, his he had like a preferred list. I think Watery Grave was on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he ended up mixing Dull My Brain regardless, and it was pretty cool to see our other producer Matt, who's the head engineer at EMAC, and he was kind of like, oh shit, like he's mixing this, and Matt was really excited because Matt, that's somebody that Matt really respects in his profession as well, right? So Matt was really excited to kind of get that mix back and dig into that and see what he did and how he does things. I think he did a really good job at making Dull My Brain fit with the rest of the tracks while still making it stand out as something entirely its own.
Totally. Yeah, and that was one thing you just reminded me of there, Liam, is I remember being a little scared of telling Matt, like, hey, we want to throw one of these songs over to Brian. And then when I said it to him, he was like excited. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm so into it. We're like, really? And he's like, yeah, all day. He was so into the idea from the get-go. So he then even was like, do you want to do more? Like we could throw it to other people too. And we're like, okay, let's just try one now. Slow down.
Hang on there.
But it was really great. No, he had a great, yeah, like you said, he wanted to like learn from Brian's perspective. And it was, for him, it was, I remember him talking about Matt to me. He was saying like, it was neat for him to send his work because he was the one who recorded all of the music, right? And so it was neat for him to send that to Brian and get him to dig into something that Matt recorded, right? So overall, it was wicked, and we would definitely recommend working with Brian and Matt. And they're both amazing people, and we're fucking lucky to have been gifted their acquaintance.
Which one of you three is the biggest heavyweight? Who can pound back the most pints?
Ooh.
Mike,
Mike,
not
probably.
anymore. Used to be Mike. Not anymore.
No. Don't. I still got it. Okay.
He still got it.
I'm
My
still
old age.
cooking, okay, I'm not that old.
Yeah, well, back in high school, Mike used to be on the liquor hard. He would go.
Oh yeah.
He'd pound back like a whole 2-6 by himself. And he's
Specifically
fine.
beers, I can still keep up. I can't do the liquor anymore. That's nothing like that. But yeah, it's some of my proudest moments or anything. I'm not.
I remember one day we were playing a show up at a college, and Mike had so much to drink the night before, and me and the other guys were just dead, like absolute corpses the next day. And we remember deceased, and we remember Mike just got up like it was nothing, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want some eggs? I'm making eggs." And we're like, "What the hell's wrong with you, man?" Go to
That
bed.
newbie blood, man.
Yeah, but Mike still gets up. It doesn't matter. He can drink so much, and he's still up at the crack of dawn, ready to go. Like,
Oh,
I
it's
don't
a
know
great
what it
life
is.
skill to have, man. Holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the Newfie blood. That's all
It is.
It really
that's
is.
really what it comes down to. So, which one of you guys is the messiest?
I don't know, John. John, I don't know you that well outside. I've never been to your house, so
I'm pretty clean. I'm
We're
pretty
all pretty
clean.
neat and clean. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Liam's car, man. I don't know. He's
oh yeah, okay.
he's, if it comes to our vehicles, who's
Yeah,
the
okay.
cleanest?
vehicles.
Who's
Yeah,
the
I would have
dirtiest?
to go with Liam on that one. Mine's pretty shit too, but
No, my car is an absolute garbage dump.
there's like lunches from like 6 months ago in there.
He called you a raging alcoholic, so I guess that's grounds to call him a slob.
At least I clean up my bottles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still have a McRib package from when the McRib was a thing in my car.
Oh my
That's-
god!
You're kidding me.
Oh
No,
my
no,
but
god!
That's not trash. That's
That
not
was-
trash. You got to save that.
That's
Yeah.
a relic.
The
It's a
the
relic.
McRib hasn't been out since 2006. Which one of you guys is most likely to survive on a deserted island?
Oh, definitely Liam.
It's definitely not fucking Mike. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's not a good fly.
Which one of you, if you had to say, has the worst taste in music?
Oh, man, that's
The
really
worst.
tough.
Requires some real brain power for this one.
I'm looking at all three of you to see when the idea hits and see if you
Yeah.
actually say it or not.
Like, there's got to be one song that one of us like that the other two hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
we
going to
just
be the
love.
straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. Trying to think though.
I think I'm gonna
Oh.
I'm gonna volunteer myself on this one. I think.
Yeah, because
I
you
was
like the
gonna say it was Liam.
you like Anthony
Thanks, Zach.
Kiedis.
I'm glad you agree.
But
Hey,
you know what though? But I like Liam's taste in music. It might. I don't know.
Well,
It doesn't- you
we're
don't have to
talking
say
about a
that it's-
very small piece of the pie here. We're talking about like a 2% here.
yeah.
Because really
Having the
most
worst taste in music of the three of you doesn't mean he's got bad taste in music. Just
Right.
it's
Exactly.
the worst of the best.
I could never say myself. I firmly live by the words every day that I have the greatest taste in music of anyone to ever live. And I think everybody should.
Narcissist.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
dude,
it's the bronze
It's not like I'm
medal.
gonna listen
you know?
to your music. Like,
Well, it'll be like
you get what I'm saying with that.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You have to support yourself. Otherwise, why even listen to music?
Call me a
Exactly.
narcissist fucking again, Alex. I swear.
Liam has quite a variety of music that he likes. Like whenever I see him listening to music, in his car, like on his phone or whatever, it's always something totally different.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
There's nothing that
Yeah.
pops in my head that I'm like, I hate that though.
Right.
Yeah. He
There's
shows me stuff
nothing-
all the time that's like new to me, and
Except
I go,
for when
"Oh,
I
that's
put on
what-
Chili Peppers, then Mike wants to die.
Yeah.
I love-
You don't like
Yeah.
the Chili Peppers?
Oh, I mean, if they had a singer, I'd like them. But
See, but that's the same with me and Rush. Like, if they had a singer,
okay, I would take Geddy
God.
Lee over Anthony Kiedis any day.
You guys
Fucking
all have the
Anthony
worst taste.
Kiedis did a bunch of heroin. He still sounded bad. Like, come on. Like, can't even sing in tune. Like, at least Geddy Lee, he's singing, playing bass, synthesizers all at the same time. Like, come on. Like,
that's fair.
That's talent right there.
Which one of you guys is the worst driver?
This is
hmm.
tough because
That's
we're all
tough. We're all pretty safe.
men,
Yeah.
and we're all like we all think we're the best. Nobody thinks they're the worst driver. Everybody
It's
thinks
true.
they're the best driver.
Well, I'm gonna say it's not John, because John, you drive a Malibu and it's just gorgeous all the
Yeah.
time. So I don't know how you
It's
you
an
don't
old
hit anything.
it's an old man car.
I don't think
Yeah.
you touch the road when you drive, so it's not you.
Hovers. Yeah,
He
it
drives
floats.
itself. Yeah.
That's very kind because I was going to nominate myself as the worst driver.
So moving on to an actual serious question here, it would kind of defeat the purpose of this show if we didn't take a minute to talk about the new song. So you guys released "I Will Move On" January 31st. Tell us a little more about that song and what it's about.
Yeah. It's a song that was it's about kind of like finding a way out of the darkness, if you will, if that's not too mythological for you, if that's even a word. But it's about a song because I wrote the lyrics for it when I was kind of like in a weird headspace, and it's about kind of like the fact that if you do suffer from anxiety and stuff like that, you might know from experience, kind of like sometimes it just vanishes, and then it's like you're all of a sudden like nothing ever happened, kind of like a cold, you just wake up one day and you're feeling okay. And so that's what it's kind of about. It's just like trying to be consistent with your mental health, really, and finding strength like that. And yeah, it's a very like imperial kind of sounding song. Like that's what I kind of pictured when I was writing the lyrics. And so just the way that I sang it as well, it all came down to like just like any song, right? Like how you pronounce the words and stuff and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what it's about. And I don't even think we played it live, like maybe once or twice. What do you think, Liam? Like, I don't even think we did it much.
No, I think you're right, like 2 times or so.
Yeah. It's a tough song to pull off too. It sits, especially the bridge sits right in like this weird spot in my voice that's hard to control. But a lot of harmonies and stuff too that are pretty like got to be bang on. Liam and I are working on those with like the verse harmonies and stuff, and doing that, playing the weird rhythm underneath is fun. It's good. It's like a challenging thing. That's what we do. It's like we like to write stuff that is a little bit out of our reach, and then get there. And then that's kind of our goal always, is to progress our playing and our singing and our abilities in general, right? yeah, and this is kind of like the first song we've ever released that sounds like this. You know, it's very modern and it's almost proggy in a way. You know, it's
Mhm.
like it's not a sound that we've done before. But yeah.
We mentioned earlier that you guys signed with Golden Robot last summer, but that was a good 5 years after you formed the band. What are some of the challenges that come with promoting your music as an independent band, and what are some things you learned along the way?
Question.
Yeah, why don't you give it a shot there, Liam?
So I think for us in the beginning, the hardest part of promoting our music was just figuring out how to do it and when to do it and what to do it with. Because everybody can just be like, yeah, we'll make songs and we'll just throw it up on the internet, which is a fantastic base. But if you do that, nothing will happen. You have to have a plan, and I think the hardest part for us was finding that plan, or finding that, okay, we have to make content that looks like this and release it then to get the audience of this, so that we draw more focus towards this. And that was tough for us to do in the beginning. And it just gets easier every time we do it. I remember there was at one point we had to sit down at a Starbucks for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and we sat down and we just like laid out what we kind of wanted to do for the year. We had like a rough timeline of like, okay, we would drop this content here in this month, and then for this couple of weeks we would promo this stuff, and then stuff like that. So it's the hardest part is just finding things to promote, because it's one thing to just put your music up, right?
And it's one of those things too. I've always found you go along the process, you make the song, you record it and all that stuff, and maybe you've spent time learning how to do that stuff yourself, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, now we're putting out the song or something, and it's like then you realize, oh, we need photos. Okay, well, who can take photos for us, and then that costs money, and then, okay, what are we going to wear in the photos? What's our image? What the is an image? What should it be? Yeah, all these things. It's just this huge list of things that just continues to come up when you're an independent band starting out, right? Like things like that. You know, album artwork. Who's going to make us album artwork? What should the concept be? All these things, right? And then that becomes the fun of it, really, eventually. But it's just like, that's really a lot of the challenges is wearing multiple hats, and just like figuring out, like, you know, getting your own team together, and having like we're lucky enough to have Cody on our team, and he's helping us with videos and stuff, and he's basically like our band member in that regard, creatively, right? And so that's the biggest challenge, I think, for any band, is just creating content. It's tough, right? Like, what the do you do, right? That's the question all the time. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
you drop your song and you go, now what?
Yep.
We won't take too much more of your guys' time, but I guess just to wrap things up, you guys have the floor. What can the world expect from the Jailbirds in 2021?
Well, yeah, we just put out our song, I'll Move On, and we've got some more planned content for that, so stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. The Jailbirds Band is our handle, and you know, facebook.com/the Jailbirds. You can find everything on our website, thejailbirds.com. All of our social links, all the info, all that stuff. And so, yeah, we just put out that song. We got the music video. We've got some more stuff coming out that we're announcing, and as well, the full EP, which includes 2 unreleased songs and the 3 singles as well. Of course, that is coming out soon as well. I won't say when specifically, but it'll be in the springtime. And yeah, again, more fun content that we're trying to put together. We can't play shows, so we're like sitting here scratching our heads, what are we going to do? And I think we've got some cool ideas, so we're excited to share those.